Hello everyone, my name is Peter Bom and this is Australian Motorcycle News with an update from the Mugello MotoGP. What happened today and Sunday in the Mugello MotoGP? Well, a lot. We had three really good races. Moto3 was very interesting, Moto2 was super interesting, a lot more than Moto2 used to be in the past, so good for that. And we had a MotoGP race which started very interesting and then slowed down a little bit and got interesting again in the end. Let's start with Moto3 because you Aussies have two riders in the Moto3, you've got one rider in Moto2 and you got obviously Jack Miller in MotoGP. Now we had Jacob Roulstone in the Moto3, which is a rookie in a very good team because he is considered quite a good talent. He didn't have the best of luck last couple of races, but for a rookie he's doing a really good season. And yeah, he was really good in the practice sessions. He was P5 and the start for this race, but in the end he was very unlucky. He had a really good pace, but two times, you can't believe this. I mean, now Moto3 is sort of a nightmare. You're all following and slipstreaming each other and they're all very young kids, over enthusiastic. And two times poor Jacob Roulstone had to go wide because there was an accident right in front of him. He went back to, I read my notes, he went back the first time to P16, coming back all the way to the front group, had another similar accident, people in front of him crashed, he needed to go wide, P17. Finally he came back and then it was P13. So yeah, P13 is not what you want after practicing P15, but you can't have that bad luck all the time, and Jacob is a fast rider. He will get there. For a rookie, this was quite interesting because Mugello is not a very easy track. Second rider we have is Joel Kelso. Good news is he's P4 in the championship. He comes from P3, still P4 in the championship, which is good. The bad news is he finished only P9 today. Only P9 because when you're in P4 in the championship, we expect a little bit more. But if I read my notes, he was within half a second of the winner. So Moto3 was again complete chaos, anarchy and huge groups and everybody elbowing everybody, and Joel Kelso came out on the losing end of all the elbowing this time. I don't know, maybe he was pushed in the grass or whatever. Finishing P9 is not something to be ashamed of, especially when it's within half a second of the winner. That's Moto3 for you. Moto2 we have Senna Aegis. I mean, very good rider. Winner in Silverstone, very good in Aragon, and he struggled a lot in Mugello here in the practice session, so he qualified only in 17. Now, if you start 17, then you're not going to finish on the podium. He even had a shit start, then he was P20. In the end, he comes back to P13 with some really good lap time. So it's another example of a rider who didn't really understand in the practice sessions the Mugello track. So he got up the back of the grid. But once you're in the race and you're riding 40 minutes with all the other guys, you learn a lot more. That's basically why Moto2 should also have two races in the weekend. There's always one race that makes you smile. So Sunday he sort of saved it, but with 13 you don't get a lot of points. But he's still in P6 in the World Championship standings, young Senna Aegis, which is really good. And let's go straight to the last Australian rider that we have in MotoGP, Jack Miller. Now Jack usually is crap in Mugello. And I don't think it's him, I think it's just bad luck. But even when he was in Pramac Ducati, factory Ducati, and now he's in factory Yamaha, there's all sorts of shits going wrong and he never is not even close to the podium. And now, yesterday he dropped like a stone after a really good start for whatever reasons, vibrating things. And today he didn't even have a really good start and he dropped again like a stone and then he had to come in with a clutch issue. So this was not Jack's weekend and it usually never is in Mugello. But then we had a race. The MotoGP race, a barnstormer initially, because Mark and Alex and Pecco Bagnaia, which is the three guys that go for the championship this year. It was obviously, we were all thinking it's going to be between Mark and Pecco. Oh, certainly, Alex is good. But it turns out that the 2025 Ducati is not very good. It's actually worse than last year's Ducati. Now, Alex Marquez on last year's Ducati, very experienced brother of, benefits a lot from having a very stable situation, the really good Ducati and his brother, and he's growing in confidence a lot, so he regularly beats Pecco Bagnaia, and again he beat Pecco Bagnaia. But the first couple of laps Pecco was putting up a really good fight to Mark and to Alex. There was some touching, there was some barging, there was some elbowing, all fair, but really good, until the tires dropped a little bit, which made Marc Marquez actually faster. He found the balance in the tires when the tires dropped a little bit easier to deal with, but for Pecco it was it was a nightmare. He was going around in third place for most of the race, but then the third 2025 Ducati, that's for Fabio Gianantonio, started to find some late race piece and catched him with 1 or 2 laps to go, so that not even on the podium, Pecco, in a track that the last 3 years he ruled. He wasn't just fast, he ruled. He won every race for the last 3 years, sprints, races always. He gets away with the 2nd place in the sprint and he gets away with the 3rd place in the main race. So Pecco Bagnaia is not going to be world champion. He's in huge trouble, which is silly, which is sad to see. Alex Marquez did everything good. I go to my notes. First, some manufacturers. Honda and Yamaha, just to get it out of the way. Catastrophe, disaster. They didn't find any good lap time or any setting or any confidence all weekend with the riders. This is a bit of a typical track with a couple of long lasting corners for a long time. Average speed is not very high, but there is a really long start finish straight for which you need a lot of horsepower and some really good aero, and I don't think Honda and Yamaha have that very much. So it's interesting to see that Yamaha, who was so good in Silverstone, Fabio was going to win the main race in Silverstone with 3-4 seconds if he didn't have broken ride-high devices. But the same Fabio and Quartararo and Yamaha here qualified really good on the 2nd row on this race, but could do nothing during the race. Not in the sprint, not in today's race, just no weapons, no tool, just, how do you call it? A knife to a gunfight, so shit all there. But MotoGP was interesting, like I said. The first couple of laps were really good with Alex and Mark and Pecco fighting and touching and doing everything. But then at some point Mark just decided, okay, I'm sick of it, I'm checking out, and he didn't win with a lot of seconds. He won with 2 seconds over his brother. He could have won with a lot more seconds. Mark is Mark and he's fully in his own zone with the Ducati, and nobody's going to catch him unless he catches himself, which he regularly did in the beginning of the year, you know, crashing out of while leading a race in silly moments. That's all we can hope for. As far as the championship goes, this is normally Mark's to lose. Yeah, we had the 3rd place of Fabio Gianantonio, like you said, and that's extra sore because with 1 lap to go, he passed Pecco Bagnaia, who is not even on the podium in his home race. There is one guy I normally like a lot, because when you go to the debriefs of Franco Morbidelli and you listen to the rider, you think, do I listen to a pop musician? Do I listen to a philosophical guy? Or do I listen to a motorbike race? You know, he's very funny and very sort of sharp when he speaks with us with the press. But when the visor is closed, he can do some silly things. And the least dangerous silly things he does for more years than this year is being slow on the racing line in practice sessions, which gets him a lot of penalties already. But today he was extra silly. He was overtaken by Maverick Vinales, with more of him later. And then he went straight back for him to try to pass him with an impossible move. So he didn't just touch him, he just barged him out of the racetrack. So Maverick Vinales' race was truly well undone because Franco Morbidelli hit him in the side for no real good reason, because he was too fast. Poor Franco. Franco got what he deserved. Actually, he got less than he deserved. He got a 1 lap long lap penalty from Simon Craver, and he even screwed that up. So he went outside the white lines during his long lap, meaning he has to do another one. So with 2 long laps, Franco Morbidelli still finished 6th. So you might think if that punishment is probably not severe enough, because Franco Morbidelli shouldn't finish 6th when you didn't even try to pass another rider, but really barged him out of the track. So yeah, and because Maverick Vinales on the KTM was good in qualifying, was good in the sprint yesterday until something. And today in the race, I mean, looking at the lap times that they all did, he was quite sure going to be P4 and probably in the fight for P3 on a KTM. So Maverick is at the moment the leading KTM rider. He has a whole different setup, a different weight distribution. He's very precise. He's also very happy in the team. And we all know a happy rider is a fast rider. So yeah, Maverick Vinales was going to save the weekend and give KTM something to smile for, unless Franco Morbidelli decided, I'm going to get back on you. And that's a bit of a shame here. Another rider that we need to speak about is Ayagura. Coming back after an injury, having a difficult qualifying session for whatever reasons. 21 on the grid, I mean that you're almost last. There is only one guy slower than you when you're 21 on the grid. He comes from 21 to P10 in the race with some really respectable lap time. So Ayagura, the rookie, on the Aprilia did a really good job, but the Aprilia is just a very, very, very good bike. We just don't have a very, very good rider at the moment. They used to have, or they still have a contract with a very, very good rider, but he did silly in the beginning of the year, hurt himself 2-3 times, and then decided he never wanted to be on the Aprilia again. And now it's all in the hands of Marco Bezzecchi, who is a good rider, but not a very, very good rider. And if Marco Bezzecchi can finish P5 in this race, then Jorge Martin would have been on the podium. Believe me, that bike is good. They're just in an unhappy situation. And yeah, that's more or less what I wanted to say about what happened today. I said Mark cruising it, Morbidelli silly move. Yeah, had it all. That was it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't go too far away, because within 1 week everybody's packing the trucks now, going from Tuscany to my hometown Assen in Holland, where next week we have the next MotoGP. So next Friday I hope to talk to you again in a little video about what happens here in Assen at the MotoGP. Thanks for watching. Bye.